What do you think the Pittsburgh Steelers need the most right now? Go in the comments section before we get this video going and type 1 for offensive line, type 2 defensive line, so on and so forth, linebackers 3, secondary 4, and if you think the offensive coordinator is the biggest need, type 5. Let's get right into the show. What's good, Steeler Nation? My name is Jack Sperry, and this is Steelers Talk. Today, we're going to be talking about offensive coordinator ideas. Should the Steelers hire Frank Reich as the next offensive coordinator for the Steelers? It's definitely an interesting conversation. We'll be diving into that. And then we're also going to be going over some more names, some potential offensive coordinator replacements for Matt Canada in the future. And then I'm going to tell you how the Steelers offense can improve, not next year, not in 2 years, but right now. I'm going to give you 5 things that the Steelers can do right now to get their offense on the right track. But before we get into all the action today, like this video if you think the Steelers need a new offensive coordinator. Guys, I would be smashing that like button right now. Matt Canada is an absolute disgrace to the Pittsburgh Steelers organization and franchise. So if you want to send a message to Matt Canada and the Steelers, go like this video right now. Here we go, guys. Frank Reich was fired as the Indianapolis Colts head coach yesterday, and it came as quite of a shock because Frank Reich has been considered as one of the best run game designers and offensive minds in the National Football League over the last couple of years. Obviously, the Colts weren't doing so well this year. The offensive line has not been doing well this year. The run game wasn't going. Jonathan Taylor's been hurt. Matt Ryan wasn't doing well. None of the quarterbacks have really done well in Indianapolis since Frank Reich has been the head coach there, and now he's essentially a free agent, and the Steelers could pick him up. He is somebody that could be a potential offensive coordinator candidate, and I'm kind of excited about this, guys. I think he's not a terrible option. I think he's a smart guy. I think he knows what he's doing. He runs a lot of RPO stuff, which is kind of his trademark. When he was the offensive coordinator in Philly, when they won that Super Bowl, he was known for bringing in the run-pass option into the National Football League, and Kenny Pickett is the type of guy that I think is smart enough and intuitive enough to run a lot of RPOs and kind of run that type of system. And I think Frank Reich is someone that really builds the run game around the personnel that he has, and I think that would be something great for Najee Harris, great for Jaylen Warren, great for the Steelers run game as a whole. I think he'd be a good option, but let me know in the comments, do you want to hire Frank Reich as the next offensive coordinator as of the Pittsburgh Steelers? This is the pinned comment of today's video, guys. So go in the comments section and type Y for yes or type N for no when an ad break comes up on your screen. Frank Reich is an excellent opportunity for the Steelers. I think he'd be a great offensive coordinator, but there's 5 other names here that I think would be great additions as well. Number 1 on my list, Darrell Bevell, a quarterback's coach from the Miami Dolphins. He has a ton of experience, guys. 15 years of offensive play calling experience back to the early 2000s with Minnesota, Seattle, Detroit, and Jacksonville. He helped develop Russell Wilson in Seattle in his early years in the league, and he was the offensive coordinator of a team that was really, really effective. Sure, it was the Legion of Boom during those years that were really pushing that Seattle team to success, but that offense was no joke either. And then he's gone to Shanahan University right now with Mike McDaniels in Miami. His old offense was kind of more of an old school kind of offense, kind of based on old school principles, but now he's gone to the new school where Mike McDaniels and Kyle Shanahan, they're revolutionizing a new generation of the West Coast offense. And Bevell, as the quarterback's coach, he has to understand the ins and outs of that offense to a T. And obviously Tua Tagovailoa is doing a fantastic job with the Dolphins when he's been in this season. I think he's 6-0 as the Dolphins QB right now, and I just think Darrell Bevell would be a fantastic fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers as the next offensive coordinator. I think he's probably my number 1 guy on my list, even above Frank Reich right now, just because I'm such a believer in this new school version of the West Coast system that's really prioritizing misdirection, crossing routes over the middle of the field. Darrell Bevell is the type of guy that has the experience that I want, knows the situational ins and outs of the game, and then he also has that new school education from Shanahan University there in Miami. So he's probably my number 1 candidate. But before I get into my other names here on this list, let's have a word from our sponsor at Established Titles here at Chat Sports. Established Titles is a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while also helping reforestation efforts around the world. It is a project based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds or lords and ladies in English. Title packs give you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land with a unique plot number on a private estate in Edelston, Scotland, and an official certificate with a crest. They plant a tree with every order and work with global charities such as One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future to support global reforestation efforts. You could officially become a lord or lady, an official lord or lady on your credit cards, plane tickets, dating profiles, and more. A bunch of other stuff, in fact. It makes a great last-minute gift for the Game of Thrones fan in your family. And the first 200 people purchasing a title pack using my link will effectively be next to my plot within just a few minutes of walking distance. So right now, I'm Lord Sperry. I have a plot of land in Edelston, Scotland, and you can own a piece of land right next to mine, and together we can become Steeler Nation. We can build our very own Steeler Nation if you use our link here. It makes an amazing last-minute gift. Established Titles is actually running a massive Black Friday sale right now, guys. So you can get up to 80% off your order already. But if you use our link plus the promo code chat, you can get an additional 10% off your order, but you got to use the link right here. It's establishedtitles.com/chat to get an additional 10% off your order. Right now, they have up to 80% off their title packs, guys. So this is the perfect time to get that amazing last-minute Black Friday Game of Thrones gift for that Game of Thrones or The Crown or Heart of the Dragon, whatever that person in your life is that loves this sort of stuff. This will make you the gift-giving MVP. So go to establishedtitles.com/chat and use our promo code chat at checkout to get an additional 10% off. All right, the second name on my list here for potential future offensive coordinators for the Steelers is Brian Johnson, the Eagles QB coach. Now, it's no secret that the Eagles have one of the best and smartest offenses in the National Football League, and Brian Johnson has really looked over a guy in Jalen Hurts that when he came into the league, he was pretty raw. I mean, he was only completing like 50% of his passes when he came into the league. And then, he's had that gradual growth over the last couple years with Nick Sirianni's group. And now he's up to the point where he's being considered as a potential MVP candidate. So he knows what he's doing when it comes to the quarterback position. He knows what he's doing when it comes to, or at least he's watched Nick Sirianni work with the offensive play calling and all the things going on there. So he knows kind of the philosophies that they run there. And what they do is they really do a fantastic job at splitting the defense apart. They really do a great job at making the defense think and choose between two bad options. And I mean, that's the type of offense that the Steelers need to run. And Kenny Pickett is actually someone that's not as fast as Jalen Hurts is, but I think stylistically, they're very, very similar quarterbacks, and I think bringing in a guy like Brian Johnson, who's worked with a guy like Jalen Hurts, can help with Kenny Pickett's production in the future. Next on my list here, Brian Griese from the 49ers. He is their QB coach, and pretty much I just love anyone that's involved with that Shanahan system. But Brian Griese, he's played in this league for a long time as a quarterback. He's played for 11 years. He was a former starter. He in that Shanahan offense utilizes their personnel better than any other. Right now, the Steelers don't do that. Matt Canada has his system, and he tries to just jam square pegs into round holes, and it's just not working out for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You need somebody that's going to be molding the offense around the talents that they have, and San Francisco does that better than anybody else. And then at the end of the day, I think just bringing in someone from this new school West Coast system would be fantastic. Brian Griese is somebody that went to Shanahan University there with the 49ers, and I would be excited to see him as the next offensive coordinator for the Steelers. Next on my list, keeping with a very similar trend here, Zach Robinson from the Rams. He's the Rams QB coach right now. And if you just look at the guys that have been in this role in the past, I mean, it's hard to disagree with this record here. Zach Taylor went to a Super Bowl last year. He is Cincinnati's head coach, obviously one of the most explosive offenses in the game. Matt LaFleur currently has the highest win percentage of any head coach in the National Football League. Kevin O'Connell, he's killing it with the Minnesota Vikings right now at 7-1, a huge surprise in the National Football League this year. And then Shane Waldron, the Seattle offensive coordinator, he worked for McVay back in the day. He's doing a fantastic job with Geno Smith and Herschel Walker and all these guys, and Kenneth Walker, not Herschel Walker, Kenneth Walker, my bad. But at the end of the day, it's like Shane Waldron took that team that many people expected to be the worst team in the National Football League, and now they're considered a legit playoff option in the NFC. And it's just incredible what these guys have been able to do. Zach Robinson could be the next guy in line with that position. But before I reveal the last name on my list, which is kind of crazy, so you're going to want to stick around, you're going to want to subscribe to Steelers Talk right now. Click that subscribe button right now if you want premium, free, daily Steelers news and rumors content here on the channel, because that's what we do every single day. We try to have fun. We try to break it down. We try to be analytical. We try to get things right here at Steelers Talk. We try to earn your trust, and hopefully we've earned that by earning your subscribe today. We're only 195 subscribers away from 19K. We've been trying to get to 19K for a couple weeks now, and we're almost there. So please consider doing your part to get us to 19K by clicking subscribe right now if you're looking for daily premium Steelers content, absolutely free of charge. All right, final name here, Josh Heupel, head coach at the University of Tennessee. Now, this offense has just been, it's been all over the place. People have been praising this offense like crazy. Hendon Hooker is being considered as a first-round QB in the 2023 NFL draft for a reason. It's because of this guy's offense. Ever since he started taking over play calling duties, his offense has just been killing it in college at UCF and now at Tennessee. It's just absolutely exploded. It's known for its very wide splits, and what that means, guys, is that he puts wide receivers extremely way out toward the sideline. He doesn't really bring guys in the slot. He brings guys way outside, close to the sideline. And what that does is it creates crossing lanes to really create space to go inside on crossing routes. And that's really what he's known for. And he's known for the deep ball as well. Right now, that's really like a run-and-shoot offense, and it's based on option routes. What option routes mean is that a wide receiver, based on the defense's coverage, can choose one route or another. And really, that type of offense really takes advantage of certain types of defenses and tries to bomb the crap out of the football. Just tries to throw the ball deep down the field all the time. If you watch Tennessee with Hendon Hooker at all this year, you know that they love to throw the deep ball. And right now, it's hard to disagree with the results. That's all I'm going to say. He's somebody that is definitely a revolutionary mind in college football, and he might want to try his skill at offensive play calling in the National Football League. Now, at the end of the day, guys, he's got it made in Tennessee right now as the head coach. I'm not sure if he'd be willing to jump over and become the offensive coordinator of an NFL team. I think if he's coming to the NFL, it's probably as a head coach. But at the end of the day, you never know. You never know with this sort of stuff. When you have a revolutionary new idea like his wide split offense, sometimes you just want to go to the highest level of football and try it out. But at the end of the day, I would say it's highly unlikely. He's got it made in Tennessee. So unless the Steelers fire Mike Tomlin, which I think is highly unlikely, most likely Heupel is not going to be a part of the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, at least for now. So we've talked about Frank Reich. We've talked about all these names. Who do you want to hire as the next offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Did I miss anyone? Did I miss any names that you think should absolutely be considered for the position? Let me know in the comments section if I missed any names, or if there's somebody that I mentioned that you really like, put them in the comments section as well. Now let's go over my list of 5 things that I think the Steelers can do right now. Right now we're stuck with Matt Canada, guys. That's just a simple reality. We have to deal with it. Hopefully Mike Tomlin comes to his senses sometime this season, but most likely he's going to be gone after the year. But in the meantime, we're trying to win games. We're trying to get Kenny Pickett back, get his confidence up and get him to progress and make some growth. So here's how we can do that. First of all, we need to throw the ball over the middle more often, plain and simply. We're throwing to the outside the numbers, trying to throw deep all the time to the boundary. It's not working out. And what this does, when you throw the ball outside, there's not a lot of opportunities to yards after the catch ability. There's not a lot of opportunities to catch and then run if you're catching the ball on the sideline. And that's pretty much all Matt Canada wants to do with the passing game right now is throw those quick outs, throw the curls, throw the comebacks on the sideline. He doesn't really he doesn't really like accentuate the ins, the slants, all these in-breaking routes over the middle of the field. He doesn't like to implement those a whole lot. So something that could really help Kenny Pickett is that you could implement these crossing routes across the field, which he ran a lot at Pitt. Pitt has a ton of in-breaking routes in their offense, and he ran it to perfection. This is why he's a first-round pick, guys. So I think that Matt Canada should be looking at the Pitt Panther offense and seeing the concepts that Pickett was running really, really well in college and then implementing those so that he can have success in the second half this year. Second thing is to throw the ball deep less often. And I know some of you are going to come at me in the comments for this, but it's straight up true, guys. The Steelers are top 3 right now in deep passing attempts. You may not think that because the Steelers aren't very effective throwing the ball deep, but they are. They're throwing the ball deep a lot, and just the simple reality is Kenny Pickett and Mitchell Trubisky aren't very effective deep ball throwers. They're not particularly accurate to that part of the field, and they're more of just like distributors short to intermediate game. They're not Big Ben Roethlisberger where you can just chuck it up and they're just gonna put it right on a dot, right? That's not their game. That's not their style. So that's not what we should be doing. Now, if there's an opportunity, a one-on-one opportunity with George Pickens down the sideline, go take that shot. Take that shot. I'm not saying never throw deep. I'm just saying don't be running, double goes and then nobody's open. It's just like it's stupid football. It's dumb football, and they need to do a much better job at working the short and intermediate game over the middle of the field, and then try to get explosive pass plays with yards after the catch. Don't try to do it all in the air. Then third, you got to run more power run schemes. Right now, it's almost all zone run schemes with Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren, and it's not working. This offensive line is not built to run a zone running scheme. They need to be running power way more often, and they're just not doing it. So if they want to get better and they want to establish the run more often, they got to run more power. Then you got to keep the clock moving. You got to keep the clock moving in 2 ways. Run the football, namely with power run schemes, and then you got to do the short passing game too, guys. You got to do the slants, you got to do the curls, you got to do the drags, you got to do everything to keep the clock moving and use the defense to your strength. You want the play clock to shrink as much as possible so that the defense can do its thing and keep the team in the ball game, guys. At the end of the day, that's what we want to be doing. Staying in the ball game towards the end of the game so that there's a chance for Pickett and the offense to win it in the end. And then finally, Pickett just needs to play better. He's not stepping up in the pocket. He's not getting past his first progression. He seems panicked in the pocket. Now, you can blame that on the offensive line, but according to Football Outsiders, they're an above average passing or pass blocking offensive line right now. I think they rank them as 12th right now, so that's not terrible. Kenny Pickett needs to be doing a better job. There are opportunities out there, and he's not taking them. Now, I'm hoping that with these additions to the offense, throwing the ball over the middle more often, running the ball more effectively with power run schemes. I'm hoping that these concerns here up on the screen, they get alleviated some. I hope that he can get comfortable stepping up in the pocket and delivering the ball over the middle to his third read. That's what I want to see from him in the second half of the year. I haven't seen it so far, so hopefully Kenny Pickett has what it takes to rise above this adversity. I understand the offense isn't doing him many favors right now, and neither is the run game, but the answer is not simply to just throw it up and chuck it deep every single play. That's essentially what we're doing right now, and it's not working. So we need to try something different. We need to try to implement crossing routes to get more yards after the catch, and I think that will help Kenny a lot better because that's more of what he did in college. He ran more crossing routes and ins, and he knows how to work the middle of the field. Matt Canada needs to trust him to do that. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's show. But before I say goodbye here, I want to give a little pitch here to go follow me on Twitter. Not only will you get a shout-out on a future video of Steelers Talk, but also that's where I put all my Kenny Pickett analysis. So if you want to learn more about the Steelers offense, if you want to learn more about quarterback footwork, more about routes, more about how to target defenses, all these other things. If you're interested in that sort of stuff, the nitty-gritty of football, go follow me on Twitter. I also put my live reactions to every single Steelers game up there. So if that stuff interests you, consider following me on Twitter at Jack_Sperry. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's show. I appreciate you, Steeler Nation, and until next time, peace.